Before we dive into this episode, I just want to let you know if you want to get access to episodes before anybody else, head on over to patreon.com/concerts that made us. And as a bonus, you'll get access to videos of some of the episodes and a host of other benefits. We've also teamed up with Band Builder Academy to offer you 10% off their membership. Details of both can be found in the show notes below.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down, the greatest live shows and the cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
This is Nate.
This is Ken.
And you're listening to, hold on one second. Let me just explain to you that we are Don't Believe in Ghosts, and you're listening to Concerts That Made Us.
Oh, you're changing your life. Guess you didn't give it all up yet. Wonder how they even scared you now. Oh, you're taking your time. We've been waiting here for our whole lives. I bet this really scares you now. Maybe we'll never know. It's been a long time. We could use a nice surprise. It's funny how the karma flows back upstream to where you flow. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. It's funny how the bad times know to come around each time you show. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. Now I'm gonna try not to drive myself too crazy. I can tell myself that till I'm blue. How you gonna pull us in? What left do you have to spend? I don't have the mind for this kind of truth. Maybe we'll never know. It's been a long time. We could use a nice surprise. It's funny how the karma flows back upstream to where you flow. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. It's funny how the bad times know to come around each time you show. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. Did it again, I told you now. Did it again, I told you. Did it again, I told you now. Did it again, now. It's funny how the karma flows back upstream to where you flow. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. It's funny how the bad times know to come around each time you show. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. It's funny how the karma flows back upstream to where you flow. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh. It's funny how the bad times know to come around each time you show. Could it be the way you always ride? Oh, 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 oh.
Stephen and Ken, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having us.
It's awesome to have you guys now. I'm looking forward to getting some insights into your music. So we kicked off the show with your track Always Right. It was released on January 20th. Would you like to tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, I could start. I mean, I could talk about where it came from. We actually wrote this song a few years ago during COVID. I remember getting some of the basic ideas from Nate and Dan. They sent it to us, and then we all got together. This is during COVID. We went to a lake house. We rented a lake house, and we went there, and we tracked some of the drums and the bass while we were there, which was awesome. We try to do this lake house thing like once every a year, where the band gets together, rents a place and then does music together for like a long weekend. This is one of the songs that was born out of that weekend, and took us a while to finish it. We wanted to really like change it up and add some stuff to it, and some of the parts that are a little bit more modern, like the synths and everything, and the choruses were added later on. But we're very happy with this one, and we just had a music video that came out with it too.
Yeah, I was going to touch on the music video in a minute, but the lyrics, something I've noticed is the lyrics speak about kind of internal battles and self struggles, but when you listen to the track, it feels like a really upbeat, feel good song. How do you go about setting the tone when the lyrics can be, if you read the lyrics on a page, they could come across quite dark?
Yeah, I'll let Nate speak to that one, but I do want to say before he gets into it, like the way that you just explained that is like a perfect description of Nate's personality.
Right.
And I'll let him explain why, if he knows where I'm going with this.
Well, I don't know exactly why, but what I'll say is, and by the way, I apologize. I'm battling a crazy cold, but I'm going to plow through it. I think like, there's like, Amit Erdogan said something about, you can't have one without the other, right? So you want to have like that, the positive and the negative, like sort of together, if everything is sweet, then it's just, it's too much, or anything is just too dark, then it's too much. So having that little contrast in there, ultimately, I think like we're like very positive, like the sort of the ultimate thing that we're trying to get across is kind of positivity. So despite like coming across these things in life that are sort of like frustrating, or like battles that you might have with yourself, like ultimately it's like we're not like trying to harbor on it. We're trying to look for the way out, right? We're trying to find out like, where do we go with this? Like, what's the solution to this? Like, how do we, fix it? So that's kind of like, with a song like that, that's yeah.
Right. And the music video, Ken mentioned the music video. I have to say, it's one of the coolest, most entertaining music videos I've seen in a while now. What was your experiences making it?
I appreciate that. Nate is a creative genius when it comes to coming up with these music videos. I think thus far I've been in the band for what, like 4 years now. I guess if you count COVID, but I mean, every single video he pushes us to our limit in terms of what we're comfortable with, and I think that this is the first true video where we really just feel very comfortable with like being ourselves and just being silly. We're a silly, optimistic band, and I think it really comes across, and you can see our actual personalities in this particular video, which is why it's so much fun to make. And it's very indicative of like who we are as people and as a band. Like, we have a lot of fun making music. We actually enjoy it. Nate, you got anything to add there?
My thing is, I'm trying to like get us away from like so often I'll see videos and I'm like, are you acting? Like, what are you doing? You're tough? Like, what are you like? I don't am I supposed to think you're cool? Like, who are you? Like, that's not who you really are, right? So it's like, so in my mind it's like, and there's enough of that, right? So in my mind it's like, why don't we just try and how do we figure out how to get like personality across, like who we really are, as opposed to like, so many people just showboat in a video, and come in and like pretend like there's something that they're not. There's nothing wrong with that and having fun with it, but I think like just trying to see what's on the other side of that, with what we do. So sometimes I think we hit it, and sometimes it's like we try, but that's it. It's fun that way.
I think it actually gives a little insight into what you guys would be like, say, in rehearsals or on tour, say, because your sense of humor really kind of shines across. I love the line at the end, an apple a day keeps the burgers away or something. I absolutely laughed out loud now when I seen that bit.
That was actually accidental. Yeah. That was the guy who was handling camera for us, Benny, and he just happened to say that. So we left it.
Oh, and what has the reaction been like? It's just over a month now since the song dropped. I'm sure people jumped on it straight away, did they?
Yeah, so it's been great. We had a sold out release party in New York City the night of the release, which was like amazing because I think it was our first sold out show in New York since before COVID. That was like super, super cool. And like so far the reaction's been awesome. But like, to be honest, I have to tell you the truth is that we've been working on our next single, and like where our like minds kind of been is we just got back the mixes from Mark Needham, who of course did The Killers and on and on and on, just absolute legend. And he just mixed the song, so we just got it back. So we've been like, while getting that song out was a cool thing for us to do and we wanted to do it, like we've been super hyper focused on what's coming next.
Ah, brilliant, brilliant. Now, you guys, you seem to be a band in the middle of your rise. You're having a lot of success between radio play. Your songs are featured in lots of TV shows. You've scored the soundtrack to the TV show The Heart of St. Francis, which you also directed and edited, Stephen. But personally, what has the journey been like for you guys, and how does it feel now that you're at this point in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's different for each of us, but I think that I joined this band not even because of the music and everything. It's mostly because of the people, and I was very appreciative of everything that each of the individuals brought, and it was really awesome to see that how professional and how much like each person was, and how much they give to each of the songs and everything that we do together. So I kind of see like the growth in our band and the popularity as like as a bonus, as icing on the cake, because I really enjoy playing music with them. Like I tell people all the time that like practicing with this band is a lot of fun, and that is so important. And if you keep that mentality, then like you work hard at it. It's kind of just like any other job or career. Like if you enjoy what you're doing, then you'll be building on that. And I think that the success that's coming with it is not definitely, it's not in small part to like the hard work that we're putting into it, but it's it's also like I feel like we're due some kind of measure of success given how much work we put into it, and it's been really, really great and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's all of that stuff is cool, but like ultimately why we do, or at least why I do what it is because I have to, it's like it's just in me to be creative, to be creating, and to have, things that we're working towards, So it's just part of it. And then, those moments like getting the Apple TV show or any those moments of success, it's freaking amazing, and like no matter what it is, like even being here talking to you, like whatever, anything it is that anybody gives us a little bit of time and attention to something we created is just super cool. Like it's just awesome. So
Yeah, and I have to say, from a listener's point of view, it's a pleasure to watch. I feel like, well, me personally, I'm into like bands that are long standing, have been around for 20, 30 years. But it's really a pleasure to watch when you catch this band that, they're going somewhere, and you get to watch the journey along with them,
it's awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Definitely.
And at this point, I like to dive into my guests' personal journey when it comes to music. So if you can you remember your earliest musical memory?
I don't know if I want to. I mean, oh my gosh.
I can't wait to hear this one.
I mean, I can tell you the first cassette tape that I got, and it was embarrassing.
Right.
I think it was from Columbia House. I don't know if you remember that. Is that like subscription service online where they would send you like a couple cassette tapes or CDs every single month? And I think the first one that I got, the package I got, had Belle Biv DeVoe and Vanilla Ice. So,
Right.
I mean, it was terrible. But I evolved into like liking rock very soon after. I think it's because I listened to it and I was like, this is not for me.
Oh, Belle Biv DeVoe is rocking,
No,
man.
Belle Biv DeVoe is awesome. That's not the one that I'm embarrassed about.
Is that the one with Poison?
Yeah, that's a good song. That's like iconic.
Buddy. That's not a mess. Come on.
But Vanilla Ice showed me everything that I don't want to be in industry. I mean, all credit to him. It's great what success he's at. But I then switched over to really, really enjoying like rock. I think Incubus was like kind of the band that I really followed quite a bit throughout high school until later on when I moved to New York. Then it became a little bit more indie, alternative, modern stuff.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention that subscription service. Actually, I had a guest recently tell me he worked out a little kind of scam with those guys, that they had a special offer if you order 12 CDs or something, you get the 13 free. But once you order them, if you get your parents to ring them and say they entered into a contract with a minor, you'd get the CDs for free.
Wow.
Yeah, he said that he had thousands of CDs in his collection by the end of his teen years. So
Well, I don't know whether I should be proud of that person or like scared of them.
Yeah. It's a bit on the fence. And Stephen, what about you? What's your earliest musical memory?
Um, First time something hit me that I felt, I was in Mrs. Arcus's class in kindergarten, and we were doing crafts, and all of a sudden Beethoven's Fifth Symphony came on, and she put it on, and it was like dun 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 dun, and I was like, "What is this?" And I walked over and stood by the record player and just watched like in awe, because it was the first time. I mean, I'd heard music, but it was the first time I heard something that sounded like I felt inside, where I could hear something that sounded just had the emotions that I didn't have words for at that age, right? So it was like, so it was so cool. And I remember going home to my parents and being like, "Do we have Beethoven's Fifth Symphony?" And they're like, "Who are you?"
That's definitely one of the most interesting ones I've heard. Now, I've never had Beethoven turn up.
Yeah, I mean, it was so powerful, and Beethoven's melodies. I mean, you go through Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. I mean, that thing's been ripped off by everybody. That's everywhere, Half of Billy Joel's songs, he even admits he's taken from pieces of Beethoven's Ninth. The melodies and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, but from there too, it was a lot of stuff. I had, my older brother, he just got me into rock music because it was like, he was a rock guy, and he was listening to like Motley Crue and stuff like that, and Kiss and things, and Rat. And so, if you want to be cool, you got to listen to what your older brother's listening to, right? I mean, that's like kind of the thing, and those guys like Motley Crue. To me, I actually told Nikki Sixx this once, that when I was a kid, that Motley Crue were like my superheroes, and that I had in my mind that they would beat up my bullies for me. You know what I mean? So I wasn't scared, because I was like, well, I don't fucking care, dude. Motley Crue will pop right in here and kick your fucking ass, right? Like that was like in my mind,
What
And
was his reaction when you told him?
he goes, "We definitely would have." And I was like, I know you would have. I know.
Oh man.
I was like, I mean, they were like my first superheroes, those guys, stuff like that. And Michael Jackson, Prince, but like huge, Prince, like massive Prince fan. In fact, Dr. Fink from Prince and the Revolution officiated my wedding. And he's become a really good friend. So that was just like a super cool thing. He started the wedding by saying, "Dearly beloved, you're getting
Oh, that's pretty cool. And one thing I always love hearing about is your teenage years. I feel like your teenage years are really intertwined with music. For me personally, any memory of my teenage years is linked to a song, and it instantly brings back the feelings I was feeling at the time. But also I feel like it's when you find your musical awakening. What was that time like for you guys?
I'll say one thing about that. If you ever have a hard time jogging your memory about like a certain thing you were doing a certain year, look up the top songs of that year and listen to those real quick and put them on. And immediately you're going to be like, just think of, when's the first time I heard this? Where was I? What was I doing? And all of a sudden you're going to have memories you haven't had, in forever,
Yeah.
especially obscure songs that you haven't really heard since then,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, Bush, Nirvana, and all those kind of like angsty rock. Whenever I hear that stuff, it brings me way back. Exactly. I know exactly. Each song has its own meaning because they all represent different things. And it's not even the lyrics or anything. It's really just, exactly what Nate's saying, just like remembering that moment and like special moments in time that happened during those songs playing. I don't know. It was, I had a pretty angsty, I would say rebellious teenage, like a couple years. So that was kind of like, not in any crazy criminal way. It's not like I stole thousands of CDs from Columbia House or anything. But
hey, by the way, it's loose stealing if they mail it to you. That's
yeah, exactly. I mean, like honestly, they're scamming you than everybody else. Literally, this is the only person that got it even. So it's clear. Yeah, it was like teenage years weren't exactly my favorite, but I think that listening to that music and hearing that music and remembering it now makes me think about how much I've grown since then, and that's kind of what I like about it. It's like an important part of my life. To be able to go back and reference the things that helped you grow to become a better person later are the ones that really, really stand out to me.
Yeah, yeah. And your concerts that you've attended, what was the first one for you guys?
Oh gosh, first concert. I don't know, Nate. Maybe you can go. I'm trying to remember. It's a long time ago.
I have seen some absolutely. I've been very lucky. I've seen some incredible concerts. I saw Coldplay's first ever concert in the U.S. I saw Radiohead at Electric Ladyland Studios, Jimi Hendrix famous studios with like 5 people in there
Oh
playing.
man.
I saw Michael Jackson on his 50th anniversary special the night before 9/11, and sat next to David Hasselhoff and NSYNC and Britney Spears and all them. Totally crazy. I mean, I've seen some pretty insane shows. Um, the first show I ever did see though was Billy Joel, and the night before it was at Madison Square Garden. The night before there was a Judas Priest concert, so all of the seats were ripped out, and there was like all the seats were broken, and all the padding was ripped out of Madison Square Garden seats because of the Judas Priest concert. I'll never forget that.
That's not something you expect now at a Billy Joel concert. All the seats to be ripped out.
Yeah, I was like, this is off brand. No,
Just a bit.
Judas Priest was here the night before. I was like,
Never
we're
know
about
the
to get
openers,
wild
right?
here.
Yeah.
We're gonna. I'm like, Allentown's about to go off.
Oh,
I mean, I honestly can't even remember the first concert I went to. I know that I went as a, like, I do remember remembering that I wanted to perform after. I mean, there's not going to be as many celebrities as Nate knows, but I went to go see my mom perform with an orchestra. Like she was a cello and viola major, and she used to perform with like the DC, whatever they're called, DC Orchestra or whatever. And I went to go see them play, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, it was very moving to me, and that's when I realized that like performing can move people, and I wanted to be a part of that as well. I didn't tell her at the time because she forced me to play piano, and I was really rebellious, and I really didn't like that. But now I'm really thankful for that because I think that's kind of led me into the performance.
I love that story.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever told you that story, Nate.
No, I'm like about to cry, dude.
It is actually. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. And how does she feel about the music you play nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, she hates rock, but she's appreciative, and she loves the fact that we're out there doing it, and she understands the production value and what it takes. It's actually interesting because we are about to do a little mini run that includes going to DC, which is my hometown, and my parents are going to be coming, and that'll be the first time they see me play in 15 years, which is kind of crazy.
Oh man, that's going to be a
That'll
special
be
night for you.
special. Yeah. Maybe I can move her the same way. I'm guessing she'll probably put on earplugs. We'll see.
Bro, we're gonna make such a special night out of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one for you guys now. From all the concerts you've attended, is there a favorite experience you've had that had nothing to do with the band or performer you went to see?
Does like when does Slash spitting his cigarette at me and hitting me in the forehead count?
That would, if that's your favorite experience.
It's a good
I
experience.
feel like that's part of the music, though.
Part of the music, I guess,
Right?
right?
The experience there, yeah.
I think like really like it's the community, it's meeting people. It's the friends that you made at concerts and stuff like that, and the memories and stuff. And sort of the daydreaming that goes along with being at shows sometimes. This moment where you can watch a human being like just take over a space, and watch like this human created thing just capture people. Like that's like to me the absolute coolest thing. Like whoever you're watching and doing it yourself or in any event, like when you can see a room move emotionally together, it's like, and be a part of that, it's like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And for any listeners that haven't caught one of your shows, what can they expect?
Well, I'll say this: he hits his drums a lot harder than he does in the music videos. So.
Right.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, I would say that the thing that we hear the most is it's energetic and fun. The video that we just released for Always Right is probably the closest to what you'll see in terms of our energy. We really like having fun, and it shows. Like we give it our all. and we really want people to enjoy themselves. So we try to like set up the set lists and everything in a way such that people can just dance, get out there, party, and then like moments where there's melancholy emotion and everything, like we try to tell a story rather than just go out there and play. And we think of every show as the most important show because, you know, like I was saying about Nate earlier, he's an optimistic person, you know, like he presents himself in a way that, you know, really just exudes optimism and like gets people happy and makes people lifts people up. And that's something that we carry across in our shows every single time for sure.
Ah, it's definitely some good qualities, especially in a front man, you know, to be able to lift the audience up like that. And out of the gigs you guys have played, is there any that stick out as maybe the concerts that have made you?
We've actually been really lucky the last few years. Some of the shows that we played, we haven't played as many shows due to COVID and stuff, but some of the shows we played have been like these moments, you know, that have just been really, really special. Like the last show, selling that out for the first time in a while was amazing. And before that, you know, going out to Cleveland and playing with Coin and playing a sold out House of Blues was like just such a cool thing for us to get on the stage and have that opportunity. You know, and then like even like the first show back after COVID too was like super emotional. I mean, it was this super defiant moment for us, you know. It was like I lost my brother to COVID, you know, and just all the stuff that was going on. And so coming out there, it was like it wasn't about just getting on the stage again for any of us. It was like that, like you took our fucking life away, dude, you know, like our fucking lives changed, you know. So it was that moment of like getting back up there and marching up there defiantly, you know, and bringing back like that piece of ourselves, you know, that can't be taken away, you know. There's a lot of moments like that, and it's awesome. They're special, and we're lucky to have those, you know.
You actually, when you were saying that, for some reason you reminded me of the battle scene in Braveheart. You know, when he's standing there and he's like, you can take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom. That just popped into my mind. It sounded, I don't know, I'm imagining you guys in kilts on stage with the blue face paint going, freedom.
Now, you're already writing our next video right there, buddy. That's basically how we write a video. We go, yeah, we're in kilts. All right, let's go.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, that's the sentiment, you know. I mean, I think a lot of people felt that, like getting back in there. It was, you know, such a crazy time and affected so many people. So, and I mean, think about it. It's like, I think we're all kind of fucked up a little bit from it. The fact that like the world shut down, dude, like it wasn't like, you know, a little thing. It was like a big thing. And we were here during that. And it was like, and then we had to listen. And then we did it at a time with the internet. So we had to listen to everybody's thought on why the world was shutting down. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, any other time we wouldn't have had to hear all that bullshit. But then we had to hear all the ideas, you know. It was too much.
Yeah, just a bit. And Ken, for you, do any gigs in particular stick out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely echo what Nate said, but I think on top of that, you know, like our first sold out show at Bowery Ballroom, kind of right before COVID hit, was like a big one for me. To me, that was the biggest show that I'd played in my life, and I really saw it as a moment as like, this is a real thing, and it just felt really, really special. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, COVID happened pretty soon after, in terms of like after building momentum and everything. But you know, everybody has to deal with that. But that was the show that I remember the most fondly, mostly because, you know, afterwards I was just like, wow, this is what it's like. This is fucking awesome.
we were backstage at that show, and we were like, well, we hope people come. You know, like I don't know, you hope people are going to come.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to the point where it's like 500 plus. It's you're not going to know all these people, you know, so you don't know. And then as they told us finally that it was sold out, we were like, what? Like, it was like we couldn't believe that. So then we were like, oh, that's not for us. That can't be for us. So we watched the other bands, and like there wasn't as many people in the room, and we couldn't, you know. And then when we finally came out at the end, it was like, then the room filled up. And people came from upstairs and from downstairs and all over the place and filled in the space. And that was like, yeah, I mean, that was definitely like one of those moments where you're like, wow, you know, like, oh my God, this is cool.
Yeah. Did it make the stage jitters a bit worse when you got out and seen all the people, considering you weren't expecting as many?
Does that do that for you, Ken? I get more nervous if there's less people.
Really?
Yeah, me too. I honestly, I actually like the thing is like I tell everybody this, like, you know, whenever I have friends at the show and everything, they're like, "Oh, you see me?" I was like, "I can't see shit, man." Like, I can't see literally past the first group of people in the front ever. So just because the lights and everything. But I'm more nervous when there's like, you know, a lot of key people that, you know, like my family or like my friends and everything, and we're playing just for them, because then it's just like I know they're judging me. That's for damn sure. Other people there because they love the music. These people are like judging my personality.
Oh man. And I always say you have to have some bad with the good. You know, then you'll realize how good the good really is. So from all gigs you've ever played, not just in this band now, but is there a gig experience that maybe didn't go right, and how did you overcome it?
Is that an in general life gig experience?
Ones you've played.
Yeah, I mean, I had when I was younger, I had 2 shows in a row where the cops broke up the shows, and I was in a heavier band at the time. And I remember the first show, the cops came in, and I remember being on stage and watching as like the TVs are running out the back door, and like, you know, people running, jumping out the windows, and like people were stealing things off the walls and stuff. We had like a ton of underage people in this place, so everybody scattered. And then like a week later, we did like a street fair in my town.
Mm.
Honestly, dude, this was like, it was the worst because it was, you know, I cursed at some guy. Like the scene is children, balloons, police on horses, you know, the whole thing. And some guy was mouthing off, so I cursed at him. Cops came, tried to beat me up.
Oh
They threw
man.
me against the truck in the back. The guy's like, "I should kill you," you know, like totally crazy. And I'll never forget, I was driving away from that show. I saw my parents, they look so disappointed. You know what I mean? Like so, and that's the thing. Nothing will get you more than thinking that they're disappointed. They don't have to say a word, but like when your parents are disappointed and they don't have to say anything, they're like, "We'll talk to you later." That's like,
Oh.
I was like, I'm trash. So I was driving away from that, and I was thinking, I feel like I feel like the message is getting lost here, you know? Like maybe maybe there's another way to do this. And that was pretty much the end of my phase of like doing heavier music at that point.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And Ken, what about you?
Yeah. I think probably and a few bands ago, like eons ago, we played a show with a like a rapper, and you know, like this guy was really, really popular, and there's like hundreds of people there. And then it was, I remember it was an opener, and then it was our band, and then there was the rapper, and the opener was like killing it. Everybody was loving it, all into it. And we're like, man, our music does not fit this at all. Because we were like light rock. And we get out there and we play, and literally like half of the first song in, every single person left, like to go to like the bar or whatever. And that was like, it was like embarrassing, everything. But I think that like one of the things that we talked about a lot after is like to not take this personally. Because I was thinking like, you know, what would I have done in the same situation if I went there to go see something, and you know, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna pick on yacht rock, but if I went to go see some really, really great music and then yacht rock came on or something like that, I know Nate loves yacht rock. But you know, I would leave. I
That's
wouldn't
my
be like, I
nap
hate this. This is
soundtrack.
not my thing. And I mean, I think that's one of the things that's really helped me like try to understand that like things aren't personal. It's like tastes, you know, like it's not like we're assholes and it's not like we're terrible. We're just not the right fit.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose an important lesson as well, make sure you're not booked with a completely different type of genre.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something I learned from that for sure too now. And make sure that it's not something completely crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And what kind of antics do you guys get up to backstage when you're touring?
Oh my gosh. This what is the rating on this podcast?
You want to see some pictures?
You can say whatever you want.
Do you want to see some pictures of the hot tub in Fort Wayne?
No, that one. I mean, we're really silly in general. I mean, obviously, you probably saw
And
that.
by the way, the
so-
hot tub in Fort Wayne is 4 dudes in the hot tub in Fort Wayne. Like that was where we were.
Nate is a
That's our
prankster.
antic. We took pictures, and then like a day or two later, we're like, "Are we fucking gay?" Like, not that there's anything wrong with it, but that was pretty fucking gay, right? It's fine, but We
Yeah.
just hung out in the hot tub and didn't think anything of it,
Nate's a prankster for sure. He's always pranking people. He's trying to like pulling over on us. And I would say that Dan, the guitarist, he's like the band child. So we kind of we joke around with him, and like he is always the last one to catch on in a good way. And it's hilarious, and we have a lot of fun with each other.
Good. And I'd actually love to. You guys should start videoing behind the scenes, especially the pranks. The fans would love to get an insight into that. And what's your pre-show and post-show rituals? How do you psych yourself up, and then how do you wind down afterwards?
For me, pre-show, I mean, like, I like to just kind of be by myself. We're generally chatting backstage and everything, but I'm kind of like not really focusing. And then right before we go on, the bassist Lex and I always do push-ups.
Right.
You got to do the push-ups to get amped up, and also to to get swole for a second on stage in case you need to take your shirt off.
Right.
And the post ritual, I mean, this is I feel like I'm painting myself in a picture that I don't want to be a light not only painted, but post show for me, it's usually a shot of Fireball or two right afterwards.
Right.
Or a shot of something, like your nerves, you've been on high adrenaline and everything. Cause I never drink before shows just because I don't want to affect the performance. But, like right afterwards, I'm always like, okay, let's go.
I just try and not talk as much as possible before a show. That's like kind of really hard, but like to save my voice before shows, like it's just good for me to kind of get in my zone. And I know like it's like a weird thing too, like when I was touring a lot, because like people would come see you and they want to talk, and it was like, and like before a show, I have to just kind of like shut down, get in my headspace, rest my voice and stuff. But after a show, I mean, a little bit more. I like to just get food, to be honest with you. Like after show, Dan and I, like that's like our thing too, is like we'll be like, all right, where are we going to eat after this?
Cats. Always cats. They're always going to Cat's Delicatessen.
See, you shouldn't have said that now, because there's going to be like a swamp of people there waiting for them next time.
Everybody's invited.
They can wait in line for us.
Yeah.
There's always a mass of people at, like, for New York shows. If you go to Katz's, like anytime at like, in the summer at night or any nights, it's like ridiculous, this place, how packed it gets for pastrami sandwiches that are like $40, dude. I mean,
I've heard. Is that the one that's been around for like years? Is it? I think it was it shown in the film Taxi Driver, maybe, but the really famous sandwiches.
A lot of movies.
Yeah.
I think the big famous scene is When Harry Met Sally, that took place there.
Yes.
And she's like, I'll have what she's having or whatever.
Yeah. And, say 30, 40 years time, when you guys are old and grey, you need Zimmer frames on stage, you're playing to the nursing home. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want people to remember like us, like the positive impact that our music has had on people's lives. Just like you were talking about before, like, like when you think of songs that remind you of moments in your life that it can be good, it can be bad, it's just transformative or something that like is emotional. I'd love for people to be able to think of some of our songs that we're writing now in the future and be like, that reminds me of this moment in my life in a transformative way. And obviously, hopefully for the better. But just something like that would be really, really cool as a legacy.
Yeah. Just really touch people like that.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
You're muted.
You muted.
And that's, I've never told anybody that. And that's the first time I've ever told anyone. And I feel really good that I got that off my chest.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
No, but I think, for me, it's like I'd want people to smile. I'd want them to like look back and be like, to feel that bit of nostalgia with it, like to feel that moment. And also, to maybe dig through lyrically and find little things that, can connect them to the time and to choices they made and stuff like that. I find like that's kind of cool. A lot of now, like, I'm cognizant. I had a son, so now I'm cognizant too, and like lyrically and like certain things is like, you're writing it it's for now, but like also in the future when someone's going to sit down and listen to it. And it's like, what are you representing? What are you, so I'm super proud of like the stuff we've said so far you know, and cognizant of like how it could be listened to in the future, you know.
Yeah, I get you. And before we dive into the last couple of questions, what are your future plans? Tours, music, spill the beans.
Yeah, so we have a few mini runs coming up. We'll be in April. We'll be going down to like the DC, Philadelphia, Baltimore area in May. Nate, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. In May, we're going to the Midwest, I think, Cleveland, Akron, and then we're going to be I can't remember the last one. Indianapolis.
Chicago,
I
Indiana.
feel like I'm being tested right now. It's like a pop quiz.
Don't worry, you don't need to give all the dates. Go to don'tbelievinghosts.com, check out the dates.
Yeah.
Dates being added. But
Don't
we're
believe
gonna
in ghosts.com.
be hitting the road. We're gonna be playing a little bit more out there, and we got a bunch of songs that we're just super excited to like get out and share, you know.
Yeah. We're also we're jumping into a studio in a couple weeks to record like a live performance show, or so we can send that out to people. It'd be really nice to give people insight into exactly what you're asking, like what you can expect from hearing us live.
Oh, brilliant. That's very exciting now. And one thing I'm dying to know, it could be far off in the future now, but how long do European listeners have to wait to maybe catch one of your shows?
Hopefully not too long, dude. I mean, that's like a huge dream for us, is to go to Europe and play. I mean, that's like, you know, get us on a festival and we're there, you know.
Definitely.
We'll be there. So as soon as that happens, we're there without a doubt.
Brilliant. Right, we'll dive into the last couple of questions. Everybody gets these, I'm afraid, so you can't get off the podcast till you answer. If you could see any performer from history in concert for one night only, who would it be?
I think I'd have to go with Michael Jackson. I mean, just because I mean, he's such an incredible performer. Like, he's such a perfectionist. He really he cares. I would say, you know, put him up against anybody in terms of caring about the quality of the show, and he's up there for sure. I wish he didn't do any of the fucked up shit they did. that doesn't happen at his shows, at least. But that would be my show.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's actually a very common answer. Actually, a lot of people say they wish they could have seen him.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Michael Jackson, and it was like otherworldly. That's all I can say.
Damn,
Yeah.
I wish I had.
Dude, here's how it went down.
Vanilla Ice.
The lights went out. The whole place went absolutely bananas. And then one spotlight came down right on the stage, and there was a little table with a suitcase, and he walked over. That's all you needed. And then he goes and opens it up, and you're out of your fucking mind. That's all he did. He opened the suitcase, and you're going, oh my God. And then he like reaches in and grabs a hat, and you're like, oh my God. And then he puts it on his head, and Billie Jean kicks in, and you're like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Amazing.
He knows how to captivate an audience. That's storytelling right there. That's like, you know, that's what I think we would want to strive to be, is like telling a story with every moment of a show. And he's thought through every single second of every show for sure.
Everything. He takes that anticipation, and he knew you were going to anticipate seeing all of those the glove, and he holds it up and teases it, you know, and you're like, that's my fucking glove, bro.
Yeah, an absolute master of performance. He knew how to just hold you in the palm of his hand, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Stephen, who would you like to see for one night only?
Well, I mean, I saw Prince. I met Prince. I saw Michael Jackson. To be honest, Beethoven, right? I mean, like, you know,
I was expecting it.
to go
Harry is
back.
crazy though.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, to be at one of those performances, because that gives me a little more stuff too. Because now I'm going back to the 18, you know, I'm going hundreds of years back. I'm rolling in. It's like, I'm like, I already know shit you people don't know. You know what I mean? I'm in a good position. I'm in a very good position, right? I'm loving it.
Yeah. I have to ask now. A lot of people say they would love to see Prince, because a lot of people obviously missed the chance to see him. But since you've met him, what was he actually like? Was he as fun and sassy as he came across?
Bro, all I'm going to say is this. I saw Prince multiple times. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just there's not anybody on the earth that has ever lived that could come close to what he, and I don't, there's no, you can't put it into words, you know. early on, I brought my wife, like when we were dating, to see him, and I was like, let's go. And she's like, and I'm like, let's go. And she walked out of it like, I don't even like. I saw it like a master, like that was unbelievable. He's so good. But I met him, and it was actually Clive Davis was there as well. And initially, like, Clive Davis is on stage and he's, playing a bunch of songs. It's in New York City. It's a small little theater. There's maybe like 30 people in this theater. It was mostly press. And he was like, Clive was, sharing some of the songs from the record. Nobody knew Prince was going to be there. And then he played a couple songs off of like a boombox, and Clive's dancing. And then finally goes, you know what? I'm just going to have Prince play this. And everybody's like, what? And the curtain opens and there's Prince with his band. He's like, on the one, and you're like, fucking what? Like, I mean, I don't even know where I was. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. But to be honest with you, so after the show, it's a small little space and he's standing there. I'm like, this is my opportunity to say hello, So I walked over and he was talking to Clive Davis, and I went over to him and I said, I just want to say that it's an honor to be alive at the same time as you, And he looked me in the eye. He like people said he never would. He shook my hand and he looked me in the eye and he said, thank you very much, And then from there I was like, okay, I'm gonna back away, right? I'm gonna go hide. The best part was I'm sitting over across the room and I can't even believe like what just happened, that I met Prince. I shook his hand, told him what an honor it was to be alive at the same time as him. And then I see he eyes this girl who's sitting up, like a reporter girl who's sitting up in like the bleacher seats. And he's like looking at her. And then finally he takes his little blouse shirt and he grabs her from the back and he starts walking up the stairs towards this girl. And she's got like her papers out, and he stands over her and he goes, you coming with me? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, with her papers, I don't know. And he goes, forget it. And he turns around and starts leaving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Right. So then she takes all her papers. She puts it in her little briefcase. He never looks back. He walks all the way down the stairs, all the way to the back door. He gets to the back door. He opens it, holds it like this, right behind him. And she walks in. He doesn't even know she's there. And he holds it knowing that she's there. Right. Because Prince. And she walks in with him, and that was it. And the door closes, and they go off. And I was like that was like right out of Purple Rain, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was he was like, people say it all. You've heard Dave Grohl say it. Like, everybody says it. They're like, Prince is like Prince in person. Like, there's no other. He's just this other godly world thing, just appears places and then disappears,
Yeah,
that was it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I never saw anything like that. I'm like, fucking dude lived like Prince,
Yeah.
I'm like, that was pretty cool,
Oh, if you could be even as like 10% as cool as he was.
I got that.
Man.
I got to slow down. I got the 10%.
You're like 15% maybe.
We don't have to go so low, what I mean?
Oh, right. The next one. So it's a bit of a weird one. If you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with any artist or performer from history, who would it be?
This one's tough, because then you have to start thinking about their personality and everything too. It's not like they're just gonna be performing for you.
Yeah.
Or I guess it depends on who it is. Performer. It has to be a musician?
Usually. An artist, anyone in the art field. I'll make it easier.
I don't know, Nate, you got somebody in mind?
I mean, I don't really want to be locked in a room with anybody.
Yeah.
Especially somebody who's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't believe in ghosts, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking weird if they're dead. No, but
might get a bit smelly.
I get it. I mean, I think like, some things are just left to be like, there's a mystique to things from the past, because you can't alter it, because they can't ruin it for you. And I think that if you were to go and sit down with somebody, it was a great, I'm not going to say who or what, but anyway, there's stories of people meeting people, and they're legendary, and they don't turn out to be, what you think it's going to be, And so you're not meeting the person on stage, you're meeting the person who's not on stage, you know? So I'd rather hang out with my dudes, you know, in the band. I'd rather be locked away with my band and work with them because I know we're going to have a good time and, you know, we're going to be creative and create some stuff. But, you know, I don't need to fan over somebody in a room, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually the first time I've had an answer anything like that now. I like it. It's actually better than picking someone, you know, and as you said, fanning over them. That's a good one.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing, honestly. Like, I don't know if I'd want to meet people. You don't know if you'd get along with them, and it might ruin the specialness that you had in your head for them. I would definitely prefer to, I know it sounds cheesy, I'd prefer to spend time with, you know, DelVecchio ghosts. We do that often, you know, with the lake houses that I mentioned. And when we know we'd just be writing 24/7, and that'd be awesome.
Yeah. You don't know if they're going to start talking politics or some shit, and you're going to be like, womp, womp.
Get me out of here.
Oh, man, come on.
And the final question then. What song would appear on the soundtrack to your lives?
Oh man, the easy answer is makes no difference, but that sounds so fucked up. No, soundtrack your life in terms of being accurate to how my life has gone or how I'd like it to be.
Yeah, just something that represents your life. Say you're walking out say you're a boxer and you're walking out into the ring. What theme song is playing?
Oh yeah, I would choose "Put Your Head Back." That's like the theme song that I rock out to now. That's like our most dancey and most like heavy hitting song in terms of that way. It's kind of how I try to take everything now, you know, is to just like throw caution to the wind and just fucking go out there and do it. And I love that as an anthem.
I think so. I mean, I think that song also encompasses really like what we stand for and like, you know, how like, you know, sometimes things can be going wrong and, you know, and just you could get distracted, but at the end of the day, you know, you just got to put your head back into your heart, you know, and figure and find who you are. You know, what was that? Who, you know, somebody once said to me in an interview, they asked me, you know, what advice would you give to your 10-year-old self, you know? And honestly, I would want my 10-year-old self to give me the advice more than I would want to sit for me, because my 10-year-old self, you know, it's like that like that's who you were when you were discovering music. That's who you were when you were like discovering how to be cool and like what mattered and stuff like that, you know, and to get some of that stuff back is like, you know, that's huge, you know. So that's kind of like that whole put your head back is like, you know, when you think of your heart, you're thinking of like that 10-year-old self of you who's, you know, who's getting who's defining, you know, what they're about, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Right, guys, it's been an absolute blast. Now I have to say it genuinely, it's one of the funnest interviews I've done, so thanks a million.
Thanks for having us. This is great fun.
I'm sorry, I'm coughing.
I'm coughing over here too. This is like something's going around for sure.
I'm like battling something. I apologize, but dude, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging with us. This is awesome.
Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back home. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back home. Well, I know that it all could get better. Sometimes when you're alone, you barely hold it together. Sometimes we climb so high out our minds. Sometimes we find what's right inside. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back home. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back home. Feel your body shaking, energy that's sinking, always has you chasing down. Right now I'm thinking it could be time to pull these vibes together. And if I stop, Oh, don't stop, you can't fool yourself forever. Sometimes we climb so high out our minds. Sometimes we find what's right inside. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back. All these walls are chasing down. Feel your body shaking, energy that's sinking. All these walls are chasing down. Didn't I catch you falling? Didn't I? I'll get you now. Didn't I catch you falling? Didn't I? I'll get you now. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back. Feel your body shaking. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back. All these highs are chasing. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back. Now put your head back in your heart. Now put your head back. All these walls are chasing down. Feel your body shaking, energy that's sinking. All these highs are chasing down. Feel your body shaking, energy that's sinking. All these highs are chasing down.
Jamie Bendel, Jamie Hernan, and Adam Haig here, co-host of the Comedy Roundtable podcast, recorded live at the Punchline Comedy Club in Atlanta, Georgia.
And we've got some of the best stand-up comedians in the world. I'm talking United States and beyond.
Here the comics face a gauntlet of unique and off-the-wall questions while being verbally dragged through curious and quirky hypotheticals. If you like stand-up comedy, you'll love Comedy Roundtable. New episodes are released weekly.
We've got nearly 100 episodes out there to choose from.
Let's start with one of our more recent episodes, such as our interview with Caleb Synan, Caroline Ray, or Craig Robinson.
Visit ComedyRoundtable.com or search Comedy Roundtable in your favorite podcast player. Pull up a chair at the Comedy Roundtable.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up the Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking. Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here.